name your Dublin 2020 team when they're winning 6. This will be their 6th All-Ireland title. This is the team that's going to win the 6th All-Ireland final in a row for the Dubs against Kerry. Dublin 2-27, Kerry 8 points.
It's going to be a bigger win, to be honest.
The conflagration of it. So Merchant and Howard are celebrating. Do they make your team? See Dave's team. Merchant and Byrne are the wing backs.
They're the cornerbacks.
Cornerbacks.
Davy Byrne was injured this year, and I think probably would have run the likes of Philly McMahon pretty close if he had been fully fit and was in position to kind of build on what was a very good 2017 for
our radio listeners, and that's anybody who's listening on offtheball.com. I'm going to read this out for you. It's Cluxton at age 38 in goals. I think Cluxton is going to go on until he's 40 or 42. I think he's the Tom Brady of Gaelic football. So Cluxton in goals. Merchant will be 24. Cooper will still only be 30 in 2020, which is only 2 years away, I suppose. And that's Davy Byrne.
Davy Byrne, yeah.
From St. Olaf's.
This is the age they will be on September 2nd, 2020.
Okay. The half-back line is still unbelievably, ridiculously young. It's McCaffrey at 27, it's Small at 26, and it's Brian Howard at 23. That's insanity.
I know. It's incredible.
And they'll be winning, so none of them will be winning there.
And bear in mind, when people talk about the age profile of the current Dublin team that's just won the All-Ireland, they do point towards the back line as being a little older and a little harder to replace than the forward line. Well,
can we stick the team back up there?
That's a pretty young back line there.
Midfield of James McCarthy at the ripe old age of 30, still with 4 or 5 years left for his athleticism, and Brian Fenton will only be 27. Then the half-forward line is at centre forward. It's Con, aged 24, not at his peak yet.
No.
Con O'Callaghan, 24. Scully at 26, who will be cresting his peak. And Cormac Costello's still only 26 as well. That's insane to me that Costello's still so young. So he's only 24 now.
Yeah.
And then Mannion at 27, Kilkenny at 27, and Dean Rock, old man Dean Rock at age 30.
Yeah, the alpha of the team, along with Johnny Cooper outside of Cluxton, of course.
You still have Philly on the bench?
Yeah, well, Philly will only be 32 come 2020, and given that the shape that he's currently in, I think he would look at that team and say, I'll be keeping Davy Byrne out of that team. The other guys out on the bench would be Evan Comfort, obviously, who's only 20 years old now. Eric Lowndes, probably annoyed that he wouldn't be in this team. He came off the bench on Sunday. The Basquel brothers, but I have Ryan and Colm in there. Mick Fitzsimons will only be 32. Keane O'Sullivan will only be 32. These guys are fit as fiddles. The reason I didn't put Keane O'Sullivan in, I think he could still definitely do a job on that sweepers role, but he's just quite injury prone. He's got issues with the hamstrings, as we saw in the final. Paddy Small isn't just there this year, but 2 years' time, if he makes the leap.
What does he do? What's his...
he's
corner forward.
Yeah, like I don't know if he has a specific role, club level obviously, but what remains
scorer,
to see what kind of player he would be.
Whether he's a
scorer in chief or whether he's kind of a rampaging wing forward.
A heavy scorer in the club championship last year.
And then there's a couple of guys from last year's 21 side that, like, Aaron Byrne, he was brilliant last year, and Gavin, there's a Lucan player came off the bench, and he was Darren Gavin came off the bench to win the man of the match award in last year's 21 final, and he needs to put on a bit of weight. He needs to bulk up a little, but he's possibly.
And is there any from this year's? Anyone from this year's under 21 under 20 team, or anyone from next year's under 20 team? Because you would suspect that there will be a couple.
Well, there probably will be, but I don't have. Tommy's wondering, will James Madden be home from Brisbane at the time? Is he possible? These are all possibilities. I only have 6 players down as leaving. Paul Flynn, Bernard Brogan, Michael Darmaccauley, Kevin McManaman, Owen O'Gara and Diarmuid Connolly.
And only 2 changes from this year's team, from the starting team.
Yeah, so who have I brought in?
It's going to be more than 2 changes in 2 years.
Davy Byrne. Why?
Because it's 2 years later. You go back 2 years ago, how many changes is there from the All-Ireland final 2 years ago to the one that started this year? That happens. People fade earlier than you expect.
Yeah, no, I would take that, but the guys who have been left out of the team or who have been eased out of the team are all 30 plus. This starting 15 have only 2 30-year-olds in the team.
That's a fair point.
One of which is Dean Rock. Now, he's on the end of so many of those loop moves that Jack McCaffrey instigates, for example, racing down the left-hand side, then he cuts in field. It always seems to be Dean Rock that is outside him on his shoulder, kicking it over from the left-hand side with his right foot, which is no coincidence either. Yeah. So I think Dean Rock is going to be in the team. So I take your point, Owen, but this is still a very young team. The average age on September 2nd, 2020 of that team that I've just put up there is only 27.4. which is only a year older than the average team that started the All-Ireland on Sunday.
Yeah, that's incredible. I just think Jim Gavin's a bit more ruthless. I think you need to sort of flush a few players out, even if they are incredible servants, if they come off the pace a little bit while still performing brilliantly well. I also wonder, is Cluxton going to be there in 2 years? Does he call it quits after the 5 in a row?
Like, why would you?
Why would you?
I think if they win the 5 in a row, he's definitely there in 2020. If they don't win the 5 in a row, maybe then there's a doubt. Then he may call it quits. The big issue out of this, of course, is that the bench will be vastly different to what it is now, where you've got a bunch of 30-somethings, but all of whom are fresh, all of whom are basically seething, all of whom have All-Stars, Footballer of the Year awards. I think I counted 47 All-Ireland medals that were on the bench on Sunday ahead of throw-in. They will all be gone. And that is where the difference might be, and that is the source of encouragement for the counties outside of Dublin.
And that's where Kilkenny, like, the bench is really great, and then it started to disappear, and it actually wasn't anywhere as good as everybody thought it was. What about Cormac Costello? Can he step up and be a proper star?
Well, he's proven in fits and starts that he's able to do it, like most notably coming off the bench in 2016 to kick those 3 points to basically win the All-Ireland. And he is probably one of those players that feels desperately slighted that he hasn't been in the team, but you have to pick someone to kick out of the team to put Cormac Costello in, and out of the 6 that started the All-Ireland, like, who is it going to be? It's very difficult to make an argument for any of the starters in that team on Sunday. Now, obviously, and he is developing a reputation as being like the Kevin McManaman of future years.
It's hard to beat that.
Which is a tag that is every team needs, but a tag as an individual that you don't necessarily want. The big change there would be you're playing Brian Howard in the half-back line. He's going to win an All-Star this year as an attacking wing forward. But you need to put your best players on the pitch in whatever positions they may be.
Yeah, I mean, Howard could end up being the centre forward of the team, though. Like, you know, he could actually be a Brian McGuigan style centre forward, kicking points and winning midfield battles, and also doing pretty much everything. Like, you know, there's a possibility that he's one of the best footballers they have in the team. Every year somebody comes like, oh, is he the best footballer on the team?
We wanted to get Dave to put his team together yesterday for 2 years' time. We thought we'd get a whole new sort of idea of what the team would be, like the 2 Basquels both starting, and I'm not going to lie, I'm completely and utterly depressed after looking at that. 6 in a row.
You should give us Kerry's team in 2020 and just see how good they are.